Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend. Tag them even. But don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend. Tag them even. But don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
Impacting lives, choose life, sharing love to everyone. Impacting lives, choose life, sharing joy through the gospel of Jesus, gospel of Jesus, gospel of Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend. Tag them even. But don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
Good evening to you. Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Thank you for being with us this evening. We are getting ready for another discussion of part two Part two of online dating. We had a good session last week. We had some laughter, we had some fun and so on. So please share the link with a friend, a family member, someone you know who's in the dating game, someone who is dating. So we welcome you this evening. We're glad you are here with us. Ladies, who's going?
Is it me today?
Yes.
Oh, okay then. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. As Dr. Love said, dating part 2, or online dating part 2. So yeah, looking forward to tonight's discussion. Should be an intriguing one as we wrap up this interesting topic.
Yes. Hello, Shirley.
Well, good evening, and I'm sure you're excited to find out what we have in the bag today. That last week, I think we established, yes, this is a viable option. And so we're going to look at maybe tips and ways we can go about it. Dating online is the 20th century, 21st century.
21st.
Yeah, and a lot of things have changed. In America alone, over 40 million people are dating. I think that was the statistic I saw today. So something to really make you say, wow, you didn't realize so many persons
in
into
one
this
country.
thing. And that's that's it. It's just one country. So I'm looking forward to this evening's discussion. Join us, share with someone who's single, who's praying still. Why not? You never know. This might be an eye opener for them.
I was just reading Samantha says here
Oh boy.
on my page. She says, "Good evening. How did I miss part one?"
Last week, you're late, my dear, late.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, it was good. We had a good discussion, and I'm sure those who were on with us were enlightened by what we had to share. So this evening will be no different. Please tag someone. Tell them that Living Life God's Way is on. As we said, Living Life God's Way is about sharing the thoughts and opinions from directly from the Word of God on various subjects where you may not necessarily get the opportunity in church to ask these questions, or nobody might dare venture on preaching them. So on this program, there is discussion on such subject: family, relationship, education, and so much more. So this evening, as we said, we're talking about dating online. And as Elder Sheridan said, we are in the 21st century. So we don't have to be dating anyone in the same geographic location as us. We could be living in Barbados or Trinidad or wherever and dating someone in China. Dating the Chinese, man. You could be dating the Chinese, you could be dating Ting Pang. You could be dating someone far away. All right. So I'm just trying to make that point to you. So we're not limited by geographic location. So we're gonna get into the conversation. We would have given a definition last week on what is dating. So I'm encouraging you to watch part one, so that part two will kind of make sense to you. So this evening we want to be talking about the do's, the don'ts, the mishaps, the shouldn'ts, and so on. So please stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back on Living Life God's Way. Get your water, get your coffee, whatever you're drinking. We have ours right here. So get yours and come right back with us.
Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend, tag them even, but don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way every Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
All right, welcome back to Living Life God's Way. We're having some fun being here off screen. So we hope you wouldn't tell what we're having. But we're having some fun and laughter here. So this evening, let's talk about, ladies, let's start with the don'ts. Let's start with the don'ts. Or what could be some of the mishaps in online dating. Who's gonna go first?
Well, I guess I've been there at some point. So at some point, Sarah just share. One of the mishaps on dating, of course, you have to make sure what site you go on. So there are Christian sites that are available. One of the mishaps is that not everyone that says they are Christians are Christians. So you might start off talking with someone and recognize they're as far as the East is from the West. So that's why last week we were advocating, as soon as you see the person showing interest, you try to get on face to face and have dialogue with the person and get into a lot of talking. And as you talk, you realize their faith is not even strong. They're not probably into the word. So you have to be careful with that as well. That's just one point. Then the next point is that sometimes they just get into pornographic stuff if you're not careful. So all these things, you have to be mindful of what you're doing. Yeah.
It's interesting. I didn't think
so either.
Yeah, that would be something.
No, I don't think so. But sometimes when you get on that site, they compliment you and say, "Ooh, they really feel fancy you," etc., and gravitate one time towards like either WhatsApp or some other media.
Okay.
So from time you get in there, they're asking for pictures, and so I have pictures, and when they send pictures are not always wholesome.
Graphic.
Very graphic. Yeah. So
And it's a Christian website.
and it's a Christian website, but then again, you recognize that anyone can sign on and
Yeah,
anyone can say anything,
Yeah.
right? So you can't just go by what you see oh, I'm a child of God, and then you recognize they don't really go to church, or they're not into God, and they're not really into the Word, or it was a childhood thing that they used to go to church, but they just held on to that, or it was some tradition in the family. So you got to really know
church goers.
goers,
Yeah.
and you know the Bible warn about that.
Yes.
Good. So not everyone that says Lord, Lord means it. So you have to be mindful of this.
So there's obviously there's some differences of being online and dating, but I guess how much does it differ from face-to-face dating?
That's
It's
a
a
good one.
huge one to me. To
Yes.
me,
There's a huge difference.
yeah, there's a huge
Yeah.
difference because online you can be just chatting, talking to a person, sound real nice, sound real deep, etc. But then from personal experience, now when you're talking to a person, not necessarily the same person from overseas, but when you're talking to a person in the country, you can pick up vibes easier. You can, from their expression, the way they answer questions, the way they move, you can get a better grasp of it. And I remember many years ago, I was talking to someone and we used to chat via phone. Yeah, almost every day we'll chat. But then when he came back to Barbados and we started really talking and we went out, it's like, no, this is not it. This is not it. But while on the phone, it was okay. Talk, you laugh, you X, Y. But then when you met the person, it's a different vibes, you know? So you still have to be mindful, and especially when someone says, I think I found the one, because you talk and you feel good. You don't come to that conclusion unless you have met in person and for a period of time.
So you're saying if you start up dating online, that at some point before you go further, there should be some meeting, some
Yep.
physical meeting, seeing each other face to face, basically.
Yep.
Hmm.
They said as soon as possible, arrange for that. Trust me, you need to do that as soon as possible. The soonest thing you can do online is ask face to face, and then the next thing you want to negotiate is when or establish how soon you'll want to meet after you see a certain time. Because there are some, again, this is another drawback, where they, because of your picture or whatever, they might assess and feel you're well-to-do or you're comfortable with life. So then after you find they have some difficulty, they need some investment or they need some ticket or something like that. So it's coming back at you.
Sorry.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, you hear all these things, you know, and then when you say, oh, no, I'm not going to be sending any ticket. Oh, so you just pretending to be.
Yeah.
So it's a business thing, you know, so careful, young ladies, careful, gentlemen, as well, when you go onto the site. So, you know, some things don't change from what I discovered. What might change is that you have a wider scope to use the online method, but the principle behind it, remember when Abraham was sending out his servants to look for a wife, they prayed. They prayed and he promised them that he would pray, and they prayed sincerely about it. So you have to make everything you do a matter of prayer.
So you're thinking we're praying before we venture there?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that God will open your eyes, He will show you. Call this weird. I think I remember sharing this with calling sometime. I was talking to someone FaceTime. And I because you know, for everything you're praying, God showed me what's the spirit that they're carrying. And I'm telling you, while talking to them, I just saw like a weird face, like a mask superimposed. And it's like every time I talk, you see this like a growling thing. It's like, what is this? I mean, it had me so much that I was able to sketch it. And when I showed her, she said, the explanation. So when people come to you, they come with an aura, they come with a spirit, and not all that come to you come with right intention. So you have to be very mindful. You don't go where God didn't send you. If He didn't tell you, don't go. Leave that alone. And yeah, you got to be realistic about it. And that's what we
I want to ask you guys a question. I think that.
Should we pray first?
Yeah.
Come on, let's pray.
Here goes, ladies.
Let's hear it. Let's hear
So,
it.
how involved is God in dating?
I was gonna ask
Oh,
similar
let's call
question.
Huh?
I was gonna ask a similar
You
question.
gonna ask that
Similar.
question?
Yeah.
Well, then it seemed like I have to answer. You were going to ask?
I was
Or you were
gonna-
going to answer?
No, answer. No.
Maybe you may have an opinion that
I have
you
an
can share.
opinion.
Right, right,
I have an
right.
opinion,
Yeah.
definitely.
Right. So yeah, let's
That
hear
was-
that.
My
Let's hear that.
opinion
Let's
was
hear.
that I guess as much as you invite him in, if you don't pray and you don't involve him, you're not going to hear any messages. You're not going to see things that that he could
Mm.
reveal to you and so on. So my opinion would be, as much as you involve the Lord, because like you're saying, pray before. And I was saying you got to pray before, during, and after. That whole pray without ceasing kind of situation.
Definitely.
Because that was my opinion in terms of how would you know, because you said don't
Right.
go where God hasn't sent you and so on.
Right.
And my mind was like, well, how do you know where God is sending you, or how do you know God has sent you, or how do you know God has sent you this person for you, etc.
Right.
And then obviously you asked the question.
Mm.
So my opinion is I guess would be as much as you invite the Lord into it, because a lot of the time you do hear about people praying after the fact, when something has gone wrong, when relationship is breaking down, or worse, when the marriage is, on the
Mm.
verge of heading towards the D word. That's when people are like, "Oh, Heavenly Father, you sent me this man, or you sent me this woman," and whatever. And it's like, "Well, I didn't send you anywhere because you didn't even invite me in the first place. I wasn't even part of the conversation."
Right.
But now you want my help, my deliverance, and so on and so forth. So
Mm.
my opinion would be, as much as God, as much as you invite the Lord or the Holy Spirit into
Yeah.
your decision making.
Okay. Elder?
I think Colin nailed it on the head there. You invite him at the very beginning, middle, and the end, because one of the tips to give for dating, before you can go online dating, you should be asking yourself, am I ready for this thing? And there's where you need to talk with God. God, am I ready for this thing? Do you want me to wait on you? Do you want me to approach this thing? And I believe he will lead you, he will prompt you. And sometimes the people go on for different stages and reasons. Sometimes it's their introduction to meeting and just being able to talk to people of the opposite sex and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an initial thing. So it's also a learning experience. But you really need to have God in every aspect of this thing. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine you are talking to one or two persons, and the thing about it is time consuming. You get up and you check the message sometime during the day, and before you go in, you spend all that time talking to this one or two particular person trying to understand, and then find out they're both scammers.
You have to pay for some of these sites.
And not pay most of them to have any decent form of conversation or interaction on both sides. You have to pay your subscription fees.
So you're paid today.
That is well said,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And over what? $140, because it might be 40 something US, or depending on how elite the site is.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a cost involved. You haven't even been on a date
It's an
yet.
investment, and you.
Wow.
That's how some people look at it. It's
I like
an
that.
investment.
I'm thinking cost. That's just a
It's-
cost.
It's a cost.
Exactly.
But I guess if you're single and you're actively dating,
Yeah.
searching, then I guess it'd be an investment, particularly if you find the right person at the end.
Yeah,
Then
that's
it's an
it.
investment.
So when do you go there? Because it is not, we are in 21st century, but when do you make a decision, let me try this online thing? When you have tried the face-to-face and it didn't work, and you are completely frustrated, so you said, man, look, let me try somebody miles away from me, and let me see that. When do you come to that place where you say, let me do an online dating? Versus, because I figured that you would have most likely looked in your location first, and then that didn't work. So no, let me try an online thing. Well, how do you get there? out of frustration or trying something different? How do you get there, ladies?
I did it once,
Okay.
and that was because I was so dead against it. I was like, online dating? Oh no, that's not for me. And I don't know how you speak to people that you can't see, and you know, and all of that. And I'm traditional. I like to be, you know, face to face and whatever. And then a few of my friends actually found partners, and two of them actually got married. And they're still married, so you know, success stories there.
Yeah.
So I was like, honey, how can you be knocking something that you've not actually even tried? You know, the reflective part of me now. I'm like, well, I'm knocking this thing and I'm not actually tried. So I went on and did this kind of free trial and whatever. So for me, it was more of a experiment. To be honest, it was more of an experiment. And then I went on a couple of dates, but yeah, it just wasn't for me because the people that were, no, it wasn't. it just wasn't for me. But for me, that was what it was. I was saying, you know, you can't knock something if you haven't tried it. So I guess, you know, if I was single, I would probably try it again because I'm in a different location now and so on. So, you know, I always say don't knock something if you haven't tried it. So for me, it was experimental in that respect.
Okay. Interesting. You know, that thought, that's right. It's really, when do you try this thing?
Yeah.
After you're completely frustrated, or, well, in your case, you were doing an experiment.
As an experiment,
right,
yeah.
So I understand that. But just trying to, because I'm sure persons who are watching us and who will watch the program may have been at a stage sometime where they were thinking, I can't take these men in this country. I can't take these women in this country. Let me try somebody else online that I do not know. And let me see how that goes.
But you have to be prepared then for a long distance relationship.
Right.
And that's a whole nother set of discussions.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to have that in your mind that you could potentially meet someone who's in US, Canada, wherever. Are you prepared then to have a long distance relationship?
Right.
Because that may or if things really progress, are you prepared potentially to move?
Right. Because
That's
that
another
will,
set of
because at some point that will have to be
a
part of the
discussion.
equation. Yeah.
If you'll meet someone in China, for example,
Yeah.
you know, are you prepared to move to China or to Thailand or somewhere that far? We might think, oh, someone in Trinidad is not so bad, or, you know, in the region. But if you find someone who happens to be working or living in Thailand or in Australia, the other side of the world, would you be prepared to pack up bags and go with them because their work or whatever dictates that they're there?
Right.
So there's frustration, and then there's other stuff you have to consider, I think, as well.
Yeah. Very, very true, because that will be part of the equation, and that is a possibility. And if you're not that open-minded, maybe then you shouldn't do it.
Exactly. Or at least keep it to your region or
To
where
your
you are prepared to go to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you're when you're thinking about online dating, you're thinking outside of the border of where you are. You know, you gotta consider that. So if you're gonna go and sign up, you gotta be asking yourself, am I really willing to leave my country? There will be changes. If I have children, do I have to uproot my children? Will I take the children? If I have a career, if I have a business, if I, you know, all of these things will have to change, and this is obviously part of the equation. Yes.
No, I was just indicating that is actually part of the questionnaire that you have to indicate on your profile if you're willing to move or not willing, or what's the other option, if you would consider. So all of that, and they ask you if you have children, how many, age. So all of these things you have to, but that's it. That's the risk. The risk, as you said, the whole life you have to put out there, because you definitely have to put out a profile, your picture, be able to give a statement about you, talk about your personality, your likes, your don't like, that kind of thing. And then you'll find some persons that just answer no question. If you're really interested, send me a message, and you know, but you have to put yourself out there. And you know, that's another part of the risk taking. Some might say, how secure is your information out there?
That's a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot of thinking and navigating around the information you divulge, and how much, and you know, if it's really worth it.
So then my next question is, so after you've gone on, because we're talking about the downsides, we're talking about the upsides in a second. After you've gone on, and you will have conversations, and you'll have spoken with a few persons. Or rather, how do you do it then? Do you speak to a lot of people and then narrow it down, or do you just speak with one person, concentrate on that person, and then move on? If that doesn't work, how do you move on? You stop,
Lock and delete.
right? You start speaking with them. How does that work, man? Easy. So what do you do? You just stop speaking with the person. Let's say you were online and you met this person and you're having a good conversation week 1, week 2, and then you realize no. What do? Do you start speaking with them, or you tell them you're not interested, or what? How do you do it? Anybody knows?
I just ghost.
What? Oh no! No, but okay.
Just came off the side.
Or just exposing.
But you could. I would assume the respectful kind of mannersable thing would be to say, oh, this is not really working for me, and thanks for the conversation. But yeah, it's not for me.
That's it.
And kind of just leave it at that, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess if you meet somebody that you are, kind of connected to, or are looking forward to kind of developing further, you could just tell the person that you've actually met somebody, and
you're talking,
and you focus on this, and ciao.
Yeah, like that second part. I just say be upfront.
See ya.
See,
Don't want to be
Samantha
here.
said, she said, what? Romantic scammers.
Yes.
Romantic scammers.
Mhm.
Oh,
There
Lord.
is that.
Yeah, and they peep you on Facebook and all of that. Oh boy. I remember once, many years ago again, someone peeped on my inbox and started talk, and they said they were Christian and everything, and we just talking back and back. And then some investment they wanted to make, and it was to come to Barbados. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was migrating to Barbados from the UK, but he needed a package. A package was supposed to come down, and some amount of money was needed. And I was asking if I can pay. And when he comes, he will reimburse me. And from time I hear money.
From I heard package, I was out.
No, it just lost me there.
Mm.
I don't know what in that package.
Package, exactly.
And no guarantee you're getting back your money. So it's like, no. And that's why it's good to be in the spirit. You just have a funny feel. You just have something will restrain you. So but there are scammers out there.
This is interesting. It's getting more interesting.
Yeah.
Because, as we said, we're in the 21st century, and it's a way where you can meet people. Online dating, single and stuff. It's a way that you can meet persons. So now we look at some of the downsides. Let's look at some of the upsides, ladies. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the upsides, if there are any. There must be.
I hope so.
Of online dating. So please stay with us as we continue our discussion this evening on Christianity and online dating. If you are a Christian, you may be saying, I never thought of that. Maybe I can try it. And so on. Or maybe you are saying the devil is a liar. I will never try it. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Living Life God's Way.
Impacting life, choose life, sharing love to everyone. Impacting life, choose life, sharing joy through the gospel of Jesus, gospel of Jesus, gospel of Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend. Tag them even. But don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
All right, welcome back to Living Life God's Way. Thank you for your comments. Good evening to you, Dr. Ian. Thank you for passing through with us. Good evening to Tricia for commenting, also Samantha, Elder Allison, Sister Chernell, and a few others sharing their thoughts and opinions with us. So, welcome back as we continue our discussion on Christianity and online dating. And I was just saying, maybe you've never thought about it. Now you're thinking about it. But some are saying the devil is a liar. Bind that spirit hand and foot. So let's hear your thoughts.
Well, I think one of the first benefits, in the sense that to go on such a site, the first thing you have to do is like a personality test. So you really have to know who you are, what you're about, what are your preferences, even in terms of travel, what are your interests in education, because they ask you questions along that line, how involved you are in the church. Do you prefer to go to church once a week, once a month, or you're frequent? Then they want to know how important is God to your life. Is it, just a casual thing, or is it an intimate thing? So it forces you, before you really start looking out there, you have to look within to examine yourself. Some might say you don't have to wait until you get to that forum to do so. You should be able to do that before. But I find as you go through that process, you see how important who you are as an individual,
Right.
Because that determines who you're looking for. So you are actually forced now to able to identify what kind of person you're looking for. They're going to ask you to give a statement, to give characteristics. What are your preferences? Because some of them, they have matchmaking facility in there, algorithms, they call that.
Right.
Yeah, and all of that. So you have to know yourself really. So that's one of the plus side.
Interesting. Yeah.
I guess what you started off with, the fact that you have the opportunity to meet so many different people, I guess, especially living on a small island like Barbados. But online, you have access to people all over the world.
Right.
So I guess it definitely widens your pool and your choice.
Right.
I know sometimes you can have too much choice and you get yourself into more problems when
Right.
you've got too much choice. But I guess that would have to be one of the benefits, being able to have that pool open up to you. Sure. That's one. They say you can save you time because you've put all that information out there.
So
And then you can read everybody else's information. You can pick and choose. You don't have to wait to get to know if somebody goes to
Right.
church regularly.
right,
Because their
right.
application says they don't go to church regularly, or they, or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess you can filter to some extent as well from that wide pool that you've now opened up. You could filter some of the things. If you don't want somebody who's got children, or you don't want somebody who,
So also everything is on the table.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
right, they're telling the truth, of course.
Right.
Just
Got it.
pray
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's on the table. So if they've got children, if they've got too many children, no, that's not for me. Or if they've been married before, that's not for me. Or
Right.
so you can make your own filter, and then you might be able to whittle it down, that big pool down to 3, 4, 5, whatever. So it could save you time in that respect, rather than doing face to face. We have to go on a date, you have to ask all these questions, and then you realize, oh no, he's not a tick. Cross him off, cross her off. You can save time by doing that online.
And that's interesting. I know you mentioned it. I think if I had ever done it, that would be my plus too. Where all the information is readily available. So it's like reading a book. So
Mm.
you see what is there. Okay, I can make my decision based on what is visible even before I talk to you,
Mm.
Right.
because you're scanning through. So I think that's a major plus sign versus if you are meeting someone, you have to ask all
those
these questions,
Wow.
Each
and then
time.
each time I try to figure out, okay, this is the case, that is the case, or whatever. While doing online,
Exactly.
you can see all the information they input, and you can make a strategic choice
Correct.
based
Decision.
on what is readily available right there. So if I had to say the plus for me, I would say that is a major
Yeah.
one as well.
Filter.
Yeah.
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 Filter. I think so.
Another plus too is depending on the site that you're going on, as you said, it widens the pool.
Mm.
It also helps you to recognize other people who are in the same country. Barbados.
Sure.
Oh, you see people pop up.
Yeah, you see people from Barbados.
Would you guys do that? But well, not you.
Oh.
Let's say if you were,
If I were,
if you
yeah.
were, yeah,
Hypothetically.
yeah. Would you do that?
What,
We
can
can
you go
somebody-
and
you know
somebody- No,
Yeah.
if you saw somebody in the same country that you were in, that's on the dating site.
Oh.
You don't know them,
Oh, you don't know.
but
Oh, you
you don't know
don't.
them. Well,
Uh-huh.
would you risk it, or you prefer the distant thing?
No, I think the whole objective is to find someone who would meet. And then remember, they said the next thing is to organize as quickly as possible when they can actually meet in person.
Mm.
So if they're on the site and they're from Barbados, that makes it all the
Perfect.
easier,
Yeah.
ideal.
Mm.
You know, you connect and as you talk and you recognize, okay, yeah, there's possibilities, and you meet in a public arena and you
Mm.
take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it blends, again, goes back to the conversation
Mm.
we had last week about your reason for going on the dating site in the first place. If you're just going to look for somebody who you want to speak with and you just want to have a conversation and maybe just, a platonic friendship, then wherever they are is fine. But if you want to actually date somebody, I would think that you would want them within reasonable distance. If you're looking to potentially have a partner.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're willing to move and travel and all of that, then yes, I guess that's slightly different. But if you're just, for argument's sake, you're not in a position to move, you would want somebody who's in the same country, or at least who's in the region, who can get to you, in a
Right.
reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Would you reach out to somebody that you knew?
Oh no. It all depends. I have to watch that. I always say no quickly. But no, see, because your mind just visualize. Imagine somebody, you clicking like. You can click like
because if
or
you
send
like
a
them,
wink.
you know them.
Yeah.
Not know them, but you
Yeah.
know them, you've seen them around, you like them, but you not know how to approach them. Would you give them that nudge in the
Well,
hi?
listen, let me put it this way. If it is someone that you know and they pass you and you all talk from time to time, I was here in person, they didn't ask me anything.
But would they've seen? Can you tell when someone's seen your profile?
Yeah.
Okay, so if they hadn't seen your profile,
Well, if they've seen my profile and then send a like or then send a
Oh, well, then, yeah, no,
I'm not
okay.
going to be clicking on that. It's like, okay, I see, but I
21st
don't.
century. Oh,
I know it's 21st century,
yourself
but
out
hey, put yourself out there.
Not
but
me.
you
I'm
know-
just talking.
I know. I know. You put yourself out there.
I'm
Yeah,
just
but
talking.
listen. Nah, boy.
guys, you're hearing these
But
ladies and
sorry, you
this
have to be.
discussion.
You have to keep it real. You have to keep it real. You listen. As much as you see, that's why you don't go on this thing if you are.
Remember, we're talking about the ups now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The positives.
Okay. Well,
Because it's good
I
for
get
shy
you.
people.
it-
I think that's another up. If you're
Right.
if you're
It's a-
quite
yeah.
shy
yeah.
and don't want to approach, like for me, if I was single, I'm shy like that. I wouldn't approach a guy. I wouldn't go up. But I may do a little, and then see and wait, But that that's another plus.
But
If you're shy to approach,
It is true.
give you the confidence
It's
to do that.
true. I mean, this online dating thing here putting out some stuff about charity. But honestly, if you saw someone that seems respectable and all of that, reading through it, I might just put a wink.
That's it.
And I, yeah, just a wink. And really, honestly, for all the winks you sent out, is like they responded. Okay,
Wink
but
though. I mean, sorry, I have
what
to stop
the
you there.
wink means?
I know what you mean. I know what a wink. That's what I'm saying. I would never go up to a guy and go.
Not
I mean,
a person.
face, right?
No,
right,
even
right.
the
I
thought
tell
of
you, no,
winking,
it's
even
just-
like electronically,
It's
I'd
like,
be like,
it's just
oh.
like a compliment. It's
I
not
know,
a,
but it's a
I
wink, isn't it?
know,
A
it's a
wink is
wink.
so kind of.
yeah, but it's just
If you're not joining us, ladies and
Sorry.
gentlemen, we're having that's okay. We're having a discussion on Christianity and online dating. We look at the we're now looking at the pros before we look at the cons. So we're ascertaining and working out what we wouldn't do and shouldn't do, and so on and so on. So we are sharing our opinion. Please share yours with us. Dr. Ian, maybe you can share yours. It would be good to hear from you, Doc, concerning that, if you're still here with us. I know when we started last week, we were trying to work out would God be for this thing or would God be against this thing? Because I've heard conversations where a person said, no, you have to wait on God. The devil is a liar. You have to wait on God. Wait, you can't do that. No, that's not godly. And so on and so on. So, but we are saying we are in the 21st century, and the way how we do things, unless they're ungodly, has changed. Because how we are having a show on electronic media, this is not live TV unless you're watching it on your television. But here, all things are changing. Many things are changing. So dating is one of them. So what let's hear you. What are your thoughts? Should we do it or shouldn't you do it? Would you do it? You can say heaven no or heaven yes. And let us know what your thoughts are concerning online dating. So ladies, we were just looking at the pros.
yeah.
And let me just say, because time is moving quickly, that I don't see anything wrong with doing it as a child of God. I don't see a reason why you can't go on a Christian dating site, because if you go on a non-Christian dating site, chances are there will be problems for you because you are going against something that's not you're following your vision for your life and so on. But going on a Christian one, you meet someone who believes in God and so on, so you're able to exchange conversation and learn a lot from other people from different cultures and so on. And as I said, I totally love the idea where all the information is there. It is there. So I can look at it, I can decide I'm not talking to you because I see some weird stuff here. So I'll just move along.
That's it.
But so you have the opportunity to choose who you're going to speak with. And I think that for me, personally, I think that would be a major thumbs up that the information is there. And I mean, even if it's not 100% accurate, at least you have something to work with versus trying to figure out all of these things.
Yeah.
Because you only, when you're doing, and this is the contrast between the two, you when you meet someone face to face, conversation now has to tell you what all online dating has readily available. So I have to talk to you first to find out things about you. We're online dating. I don't have to talk to you. I can see what you have there available before I say something to you. So in comparison with face-to-face dating and online dating, I think that's a plus for online. So if I had to be writing face-to-face dating and online dating, then I would give online dating.
But that's another plus.
Let's
I remember there's a guy, he's from Barbados. That's one of the connections, yes. So we just ended up being friends actually. But this is when we were talking, is how come you were online, looking for someone? And he asked me the same question. So we talked, but he said one of the plus thing about that, he said, I know myself. I tell if I'm attracted to a woman and she's, she has nice ways and she's beautiful, I start to get really sexually thing, and it blinds me. Yes, amorous, and it starts to blind me. He says, so one, and you know, you lose track of focus on what's really important. So he said he prefers this means because now I am forced to just concentrate on getting to know the person.
Yeah, that's good.
So that
That's
was
really
another
nice.
thing.
Yeah.
Tracy was just making a comment here. But people like to impress, and we know that this is very true. This
Oh,
is,
yes.
this would be a downside, Tracy,
Yeah.
to online dating,
Yeah.
because you know that people will put on some stuff. But Tracy, the truth is, people put on stuff when they're in front of your face too. You get until, oh yes, Mike, I know how to treat a lady. Let's speak gentleman wise. So I know how to treat a lady, man. I will open the door for you, and you know, I will. You don't have to. I will hardly ever let you have to touch the ground or wall. I will just, you know, and you get all of these like to realize a week
Red
or
flag.
yeah, a week or two after, you're like, but I thought you said you open doors.
The honeymoon period over.
Yeah, you know. So
I tell you that. The honeymoon period is over.
Just a question then.
Uh-huh.
So I think to some extent it might be easier to find out if someone's lying or not when you go through the online dating method, because they put everything out there for you to read, and then
Yes.
when you go and meet them,
Yeah.
if they don't meet what they've written,
Exactly.
you could get that quite quickly.
Yeah, you can.
Whereas face to face, you have to get to know the person, you have to
Right.
find out if they're lying
Right.
or being untrue.
It's true.
Whereas, you know, people type and they write all these glorious things, but you've forgotten what they've written,
It's true. Speak. Preach.
forget what they've written, and
Uh-huh.
then when you meet them, because you know you would have, you know, clicked that in your memory because you're obviously, you know, doing your checklist.
Right.
So you would have a lot of that information stored in your head because you're looking to see if they meet it. So you would more likely remember more than what they've remembered.
Mhm.
And so it would be easier then
Yeah.
for you to then say, oh, actually, but you said in your profile
Mhm.
that you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
yeah.
didn't do it, or he didn't say
Yeah.
it, or he didn't.
What do I tell you? It was an error.
Yeah, I was a typo.
Yeah.
Or I'm
Yes.
busy. I'm busy now. Can I
Yes. Could I get back to you later? Let's
Go back and
to
read and edit.
Yeah, could I have to go back and
And edit,
read
Yeah.
because
what they've
they
written.
but that's another thing you have to watch bear in mind, honestly. This is something I saw for myself. You saw a particular profile and they had probably a particular area of interest and so forth, and I saw it, but you know, I was just browsing. But it so happened the same person sent out conversation with me.
Mhm.
Time I looked at the profile again, they added to it. They're interested in art and music.
I was going to say,
Yes. They're interested in art and music. I said, okay, so you
Nice.
already know something up there.
Mhm.
You know, so these things you watch out for, and the next thing you look out for when you ask questions like, you know, so how you feel about God and so forth. And before you finish the question, you see a long paragraph drop in the box.
Oh,
When
cut and
you-
paste from somewhere.
Where you, in that quick minute, you have that long answer. You know,
So it's a
they have
plus
preset
again.
answers.
So it's a plus.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
get rid of all of that
Yeah.
before you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some answers you can copy and paste and drop it in Google and to help you to connect with where the statement was used.
But lady, I'm hearing you speaking, and what you're saying is totally true. But the face to face is true too.
Yeah.
But that's so then what?
So you have so they're both upsides and downsides of both.
Mhm.
And the reality of you can try and fail either way by saying online or in person
Correct.
is there. And I think if you it is not, and I think that we shouldn't reach a stage of desperation or frustration where you say, you know, I'm totally frustrated, so let me try get it online,
Mhm.
because I think it can very well end up worse.
Mhm.
I think it has to be okay. Let me try this. I think that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
versus
You
doing
gotta
it from a
watch.
place, doing it from a place of
Desperation.
frustration or
Mhm.
desperation.
Mm.
Because to me, because what happens then? What happens now if you go and you meet somebody who is a little loony, and then you say, you know what, I'm just totally done with dating. I'm trying to meet somebody and stuff like that, and then that's not a good idea. So I think you try it, with an open mind. Like how we try everything else with an open mind.
Yeah.
You try and you going slowly and stuff like that, because person will reveal themselves very soon, sooner rather than later.
That's true.
And in all things with prayer.
Mhm.
And as you said, God, which I totally love, you said, if you didn't put God in at the beginning, why would you try to rope him in the
Yeah.
middle when things go
Mhm.
downhill?
That's true.
And I think putting God in the middle, approaching all things in prayer, I think that is. I've never met anyone
Mhm.
who have dated online and had a successful relationship. I heard you.
Oh, yeah.
You said
Yeah,
that two persons who have, and
Yeah.
that's great. So that's a testimony
Mhm.
to prove that it does work, or it can work. You know?
Can. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember one person, I met her through program we had, and next thing I saw on Facebook, she's in Switzerland with her fiance. Yeah. So, and from time to time, she still posts pictures, and they seem to be quite happy.
Mhm.
And that started last year. So again, I found out it was through online dating. You know, so I saw another couple. Well, they live in Barbados now. The guy met her online, and they have been talking for about a year. And after that, they visited each other's countries. Now he's living here.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm saying it's a matter of discerning what God wants you to do and at what time.
Yeah.
And being open minded, as we said last week. God worked miracles. Even when he was giving sight to the blind for one person, he spoke for another person, he mixed something with clay, he put it on. So he's a God of different methods.
Mm.
So it's just to be connected or aligning with him to find out. And this thing quickly about trust God and leaving it. Some people think when you trust God and have faith in God, you just sit back and wait, and somehow the partner will fall inside the house or they will come knocking on your door. Trusting God means allowing him to lead you when and where and present yourself. You have to show up.
Mhm.
You have to do your part. You have to work with him. Sometimes you meet people because you're at the right place at the right time. Colleen was talking about her experience last week. They both were at the same location. Then he approached her. Then he approached her. I'm just dropping that in. I might be biased. Then he approached her, right? So even for us women, that is why it's important that we don't be desperate or anything like that. Allow the process, to happen. And that gives you the opportunity to understand what kind of person is he, a person that leads. Is he comfortable, initiating things? Does he need a nudge here and there? How much? Because I always say if you have to initiate most of the things, then you'll be initiating for the rest of your life if things don't get balanced. So it's a prayer thing. I agree with you. It's a prayer thing.
Sure, now I was asking this question. So is it that we have to approach online and face-to-face dating the same way?
If you approach it the same way, I don't think so. In the sense that, as you, what we were saying earlier on, with the online, the information is readily available to you, so you can already from the get-go decide who you want to spend more time talking with. With the face-to-face, I don't think you'll be talking to 3 and 4 at the same time as in the earlier stages. With the face-to-face, you need maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 to find out all of the information you'll get at one go. So I think it's a slightly different approach. And that you're listening, you're asking the right question. But for the face-to-face, even though you're listening and asking the right question, you're getting more answers. And the approach is you have to find places of mutual thing. Thing about face-to-face, you have to make sure, especially in the early stages, you prioritize your safety. You don't know who the person is really. So therefore, it's either you have somebody back up, or you have your phone and everything next to you, or you just go chauffeur. Public place, that's just symbolic.
Or any other.
Just make sure
restaurant.
just make sure that's right. It's symbolic. It's a public place, people moving in and out. I don't suggest getting in this too cozy, whatever. But you just go public until you get a hang
I
off.
don't think there's much difference.
Well, I don't know.
Because you still have to maintain your safety. You still have to get to know the person, even though you might have more information initially. You're not sure whether or not it's 100% correct. You still have to decipher that. You still have to get to know people. And I think if you're dating, I think we talked about last week about dating. I mean, what is dating, in terms of that spectrum? Is it that you're dating is when you're actually with somebody and you're with that one person and you're dating that one person, or you're on the dating scene and speaking to numerous people until you find a person that you connect with? So if we take that example, that you're dating means you're getting to know different people till you find someone. Even in face-to-face, you may still be speaking to 2 or 3 different people and going on dates and what have you until you find the person you connect with.
Right.
So I don't think there's much difference. I think the difference would be, as I say, you have some information prior that you can decipher. You can easily ignore people. I mean, it's a bit hard if you're walking down the road and someone's talking to you and you're saying, okay, no, I'm not interested, and they're still following you down the road and whatever. But if you're online and you're not interested, you just ignore, and it's safer. I mean, there's those differences.
Right.
But I think the fundamentals are quite, it's still the
Similar.
same about safety, getting to know, using discernment, whether or not you choose, down to your own personality, whether or not you're comfortable seeing or going on dates with 2 or 3 different people. I mean, that's a personality or individual preference, perhaps. I think they're still very similar.
But at least you gotta find out a little faster, I think.
What, dating
In
face
terms
to
of the
face?
First
information.
face-to-face?
Face to face?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think you find out faster. But I guess that is
Or you just pick it up faster.
that's it. Well said.
I
You
think you
pick it
pick it
up,
up.
you discern it for me
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, I think you
I
pick
think
it up.
I sense people and understand them faster in person
Yeah.
than looking at something or writing or communicating. That will have me stumped for a
You can
while.
tell by their body language. You say, oh, do you like children? Yeah, I like children, but their head's going like this.
Yes.
And their mouth is saying yes.
Yes.
And you're like, no, you don't like children.
Exactly.
But you can't see that online.
No, when you type, when you
You
type
can't
and
see
you
that
get,
online.
you see, yes, I love children.
I love- yeah,
as you said,
yeah.
I love
Children.
children.
And they're like, no way. I love children. But
Exactly.
they know that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, you know.
You can pick it up a bit
Yeah,
quicker.
yeah. That's it. And that's me. I don't like to.
Yeah,
So
don't
then-
like
then
to-
it's
So let me
important.
know the truth. Let me understand
Right.
as
Keep it
early as
moving.
possible.
That's
And
right.
just like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So then it's important to be open and truthful.
Mhm.
I mean, in either case, whether
You have to be.
online or
Yeah.
face to face.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not joining us, we are about to wrap up, but we have been discussing Christianity and online dating. We believe that it's very important to have these kind of discussions and conversations to open our eyes as far as, in this case, we're discussing dating and Christianity and online dating and stuff like that. We know years ago, this would have been something that would have been so far-fetched where we would have never considered crossing the border of dating online using a computer, if we put it this way, to find a spouse. Who does that?
That's what people. That's what I say. That's what I
Right, that's
say.
right. That's how,
Yeah,
and
we
you're
really
quite right.
taboo.
Yeah.
That's how it would have been received.
Put it
That
on, man.
it lends to desperation.
Mm.
We're the 3 of us. We are agreeing. No, that's not necessarily the case. We believe that it's an avenue that can be explored, and so on. So it's up to you as an individual to make such a choice. And I would encourage you, if you have, you can share with your spiritual covering, also with someone who knows about the computer. You don't have to tell them what you're doing, but you ask certain questions so that you will know certain language and stuff like that as it relates to the computer, and how long, and be knowledgeable how long it takes somebody to type. You have all these long lines, because if you know somebody's typing all these things, you know for sure that's a copy and paste. So if you're gonna do electronically, you have to be aware of electronic stuff, which will say, how can somebody type 20 words in less than 30 seconds? Not possible. So you will know that click, 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 and paste.
can I just add a little
Yeah,
bit something
sure.
there? Because if you're dating and
Uh-huh.
you're speaking to lots of different people, it's the same questions that tend to be asked.
Repeat it.
So,
Mm.
so you
So
have
if you-
generic answers.
Oh.
Yes.
So I'm just saying to save time.
To save time, just
Let me just save the response.
Let me just save the response.
Okay.
If it's a really good response, and you think, yeah, you know what? Yeah,
I'm
that sounds
gonna use
good.
this twice.
I'm gonna use this again. If it's the same question, I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there, people.
Yes, you see. Mm.
It doesn't necessarily make you dishonest if it's the truth.
Mm.
But if someone
If
says to
that's
me,
not
oh,
really true.
say I had, I don't know, 4 children or whatever, and I didn't want to keep writing, I have 4 children.
Fair enough.
You could just cut and
Copy and
paste, I have 4 children. Because you don't want to keep writing, I have 4 children. Because those are the kind of questions. Have you been married before? I mean,
Right.
those are quite short answers. But you know, you get my understanding. If it's the truth.
Could it be? I think,
Just right now, then, sorry.
could it
I'm
be?
drinking water.
Sorry.
Mind my business.
Could it be boring, ladies? To be just be on the computer
Yes,
having
please.
conversation
It
and
must
stuff like
be.
that?
Yes.
Versus- I would think so as
After,
well.
if you're, especially if you're looking for a companion, you know, if you're genuinely looking for somebody, you're not just there just to pass time and who's online today, who can I speak to today. If you're genuinely in the position and ready, heart, mind, and spirit to be dating, and you really just want to find somebody,
Mm.
that could be quite tedious, I think. Just like dating face to face. It's like, I mean, I've got a few single friends right now, and they've been going a couple of dates, and they're like, I am so tired of going on dates. I am so tired of having to find something to wear. I am so tired. Did I wear this the last time? Did I, you know, and so on. And, you know, they're
Oh,
just,
the
they're
same
just
story.
tired. The
Yeah,
same,
I was already
yeah.
coughing, yeah.
Sorry.
But
But, you know, they are.
the
They're
same
saying they're
thing
so
repeating itself.
tired of
and-
dating.
Mm.
They just want to find the right
Mm.
guy and just chill, you know. So I
Yeah.
can imagine it must do. After
Yeah.
a while.
All right. So ladies, let's share our closing thoughts, and let's start with you, Elder Shardy. Time is gone, and so we have been discussing for the last 2 weeks
Mhm.
online dating, Christianity, and online dating. Is it a yes for you or no for you? Would you recommend it to any of your single friends? Elder Shardy, close us off.
Well, as we were talking last week, you know, it just comes out that it has its ups and it has its downs. But the important thing is for us to be open-minded. The important thing is to be led, you know, and allow God to have his own way. Sometimes it could be a method of learning about yourself, other people, and he can redirect you later on. You just don't know. But the important thing is to be open-minded. You don't look down on people who are using that method, and you continue to pray for one another. Dating is never an easy thing. I don't even think it's a game because it's not always fair, but it should be one of prayer and allowing God to have his way.
All right, Dr. Cullen.
Yeah, I agree. I think be bold and be brave. That's what came to me.
Wow.
Yeah. Step out, try, especially if you really are wanting to find a companion, want to widen your pool. Be bold, be brave, and take a chance, but apply wisdom and obviously keep God in the center of all things.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, so you've heard it from the ladies. For me, I would say why not give it a try? You're not locking yourself into it. You're trying to see how it will go. You meet people whether locally or regionally or internationally. We look at person's statuses and what they post on these different media, so you can have conversation with someone. I'd say if you're trying it, don't make people promises, because you don't want to start making promises and then obviously you can't keep them. So you're having conversation, you're seeing the likes and dislikes and so on before you come to a conclusive decision that, okay, yes, I'll be with you, or I'll come and physically meet you. You have conversation, see if the person can, despite what they've posted on their profile, see if they like to laugh. Maybe you are someone who like to
It's
laugh.
true.
See if the person like movies, maybe we like to watch movies. All of those things, because when you actually meet, then you will really see if that's true or not. So you have simple conversation. Like I said, not promising. Don't go date on a dating site and in 2 weeks you're telling the person, I'll marry you, or stuff like that. No, don't do that. Don't make those kind of commitments without physically meeting person. It's not an arranged marriage or anything. So you have conversations, and I don't think that can hurt you in any form. Go with an open mind. Go with the idea that someone may have on truth statements up, on true information, but it will all reveal itself as you have that conversation. Alrighty, so on behalf of Dr. Connie and Sharonine and myself and all of us here, we want to wish you a great Thursday evening, whatever you do. Get some rest and relax, and prepare yourself. Next week we're going to come with another exciting discussion that nobody else will want to discuss. We'll discuss it here for you on Living Life God's Way. So thank you for being with us, and we wish you a great evening, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Welcome to Living Life God's Way. Real life, real talk, real hope. Every show. Join us every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. as we discuss topics relating to life, church, family, education, and so much more. Invite a friend, tag them even, but don't you dare miss the show. Living Life God's Way every Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
Impacting lives.